Dark, quiet, and melancholy are the most accurate adjectives to describe A Tale of Two Sisters, a cult horror work from Korea. A Tale of Two Sisters, directed by Kim Ji-won, although released in 2003, is still considered the scariest horror film in Korea. As soon as it was released, the film became the first domestic horror film to attract over 3 million spectators. Possessing such a unique idea that two Hollywood directors, Charles Gard and Thomas Gard, couldn't help but be forced to remake it with the title The Uninvited in 2009. A Tale of Two Sisters was also included in the list of 12 best foreign remakes by the British film magazine Total Film in the US. It was ranked by MBN Star as one of the most popular horror films of the 2000s, despite thousands of thrill movies being produced each year. To explain the success of the film, let's unfold the secret with Ask K-pop right now. A Tale of Two Sisters breaks out of that spiritual shadow with a plot bearing bold family psychological identity, often seen on Korean dramas, but is reduced to a much darker tone with details and elements. This work is based on Janghwa and Hangreon folktales. Korean identity has been thoroughly utilized by director Kim Ji-woon with the olden feuds in the Korean social family. In the drama, sisters Soo-mi and Soo-young return home after a period of psychological treatment due to the death of their mother. But what makes her sister uncomfortable is that next to her father, she and her sister have to live with an extremely cruel stepmother, Myuu. Despite being warmly welcomed by her stepmother, her sister Soo-mi always tries to avoid her stepmother, while her sister Soo-young shows fear. The relationship between the stepmother and son-in-law in human history has never been smooth. Strange things keep happening. The house is haunted, and the birds of the beautiful young stepmother are poisoned. One day, when her father was away, Soo-mi saw her stepmother dragging a large blood-stained bag through a pitch-dark hallway. She followed the blood trail, assuming that in the bag was the body of her sister. As a result, Soo-mi violently got into a fight with her stepmother and fell unconscious. When he returned, the father found Soo-mi lying alone on the floor. His voiceless cry over Soo-young's death reveals long-standing family secrets. The end of A Tale of Two Sisters is one of the most unexpected endings of the screen. It is the cause for all the stories in the film. A false affair from the father led to many other mistakes and tragedies in the house. One day when the father openly brought his lover home, the mother could not accept this fact, but was completely helpless. She hung herself in the wardrobe. At the time, the stepmother used to work as a nurse to take care of Soo-mi and Soo-young's mother. When Soo-young opened the cupboard, she was crushed by her mother's body and the cupboard. When the accident happened, the older sister was leaving because she decided to oppose her father and his lover, while the father's lover saw that he did not help. Soo-young's death made Soo-mi regret and haunt her forever, making her always feel that there are unusual things taking place in the house. There are many film critics who find the movie pacing very slow and confusing. But what you may not know is that it's all intentional and represented by the creative vision of talented director Kim Ji-woon. Let's hear what he had to say in response to the critics.
공통적으로 비평이 대상이 되었던 부분들은 이제 플롯의 혼란함, 또는 어떤 내러티브의 빈약함이라는 얘기를 많이 하는데, 플롯이라는 것은 이야기의 구조를 얘기하는 것이고, 또 이 영화는 기억의 어떤 기억에 의해서 이루어지는 어떤 공포와 혼란을 얘기를 하는 것이기 때문에 그런 뭐 역순 구조의 어떤 드라마라든가 또는 마치 그 인물 자체, 그 주인공 자체가 어떤 망상극에 빠진 것처럼 가면놀이를 하는 것처럼 관객들도 그거와 동참시키려는 어떤 욕구가 있었던 것이었고, 그래서 계속 그 내러티브나 플러스 혼란을 주었던 것이고, 그것이 이 기억의 공포와 혼란을 다룬 이 영화에 가장 맞는 플롯이라고 생각이 들었기 때문에 그렇게 얘기를 했는데, 그러니까 내가 보기에는 평론가들이
A Tale of Two Sisters is an extremely unique combination in Western filmmaking style, while harmoniously integrating with Asian horror film style, exploiting family conflicts, familiar motifs like a white shadow covered with long hair, an abandoned house. The film morphed in a unique and bright way. First of all, we still have to repeat the familiar stereotypes about the image of a long-haired girl in a white shirt. That image always creates a feeling of horror and gloom without having to create elaborate and complicated shapes. In addition, A Tale of Two Sisters has quiet, cold scenes that create a strange feeling from waiting to extreme fear. The soundtrack of A Tale of Two Sisters, with its sad, painful violin sequences, had an excellent impact in impressing the audience. Not only the horror sound effects like the traditional film, A Tale of Two Sisters also break the way with silences or the sound of objects. The silences used in the climax scenes make the only sound that the viewers can hear, which is his heartbeat. There are sounds from objects such as boiling water, familiar clacks, but they make viewers tense in the movie. The sisters' beautiful home is decorated with floral wallpaper, the elegant furniture inside, and sophisticated appliances, which added to the creepy mystery of the film. With detailed scenes in every corner of the beautiful house, the film always made the viewer's hair stand on end and created psychological tension without the need for gore images or creepy music. A Tale of Two Sisters made the first successes of the Asian horror genre. The film is seen as a pioneer in breaking the safe ways of previous horror filmmaking. The politician Kevin Thomas of the Los Angeles Times described A Tale of Two Sisters as a triumph of stylish, darkly absurdist horror that even manages to strike a chord of Shakespearean tragedy, and evokes a sense of wonder anew at all the terrible things people do to themselves and each other. There are many other horror works that have been inspired by the film, but A Tale of Two Sisters is always one of the most impressive works with its unique style. After watching the movie, I learned a great lesson. Family is the most important thing. Those are my thoughts on this refreshing horror movie, but the only thing you really have to consider when deciding to watch this movie is that if you're afraid of ghosts, don't watch it alone. Have fun watching the movie. Thank you for watching our video. To support our channel to make more interesting videos, please like and subscribe to Ask K-Pop Entertainment channel. Bye, and see you in the next videos.